Well, today our trainer is Michael Huggins. The music and thoughts today were on breaking the limits. We've got the power. We're not going to take it anymore. And that's just how I feel. When I see Dee Snider singing, we're not going to take it anymore, I see him singing to the banking industry and to education that isn't telling us what we need to do to get on top of things. And the last song, "Feel It Still," talks about being a rebel. And yeah, we're rebelling against the banking institutions, the way they stand and the way they want us to do business. We're going to show them how we want to do business. And we're learning all these great strategies with Renatus. And I look at Michael, look at those eyes there, and just, can you imagine someone telling him when he's got a goal and working towards something that he can't do it? I just can't see him taking that. I see him just coming back with a retort that's going to knock him silly and leave him with a dazed face. And we're so glad he's with us today. Michael Huggins, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, Money Monday. Appreciate the intro there, Rob. And welcome everyone else. These webinars are a great spot for you to get caught up with some new info, to get some training, to connect with other IMAs across the country, through the chat system. So glad you guys are here. Right on. Let's do this. All right, so we left last week on the PowerPoint. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So we left off with the law of design, if you guys remember that. And I was talking about systems. Are we using systems? Are we growing systems? Hopefully you're using your systems. So we talked about law of design. Promote consistency, making sure that we are reliable. People know exactly what we're up to. Consistency is the name of the game. Okay, now here's what we're going to talk about today. I've got 3 more laws to talk about today. Remember, this is coming from the book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. This guy is a world expert on leadership. He's written over 70 books on leadership and training on it for over 40 years. Has been, I think, to like over 100 countries as he's equipping people to lead themselves to do something better. Right? If we lead, everyone keeps thinking we got to lead. Who can I lead? Who can I lead? And they forget they got to lead themselves. Okay, so speaking of leadership, we have to understand the law of pain. Now, this is where we're talking about good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Okay, so a couple truths about pain. Some things that we cannot avoid. Everyone has them, no one likes them, and few will make them into positive experiences. Okay, these are just some truths about that. Now, when we're in our mind and we have to understand which pain, which mental pain or which bad experience, which painful experience are we really dealing with? So there's the pain of inexperience. There's the pain of incompetence. Should have seen that coming. The pain of disappointment, right? I wish that never happened. The pain of conflict, right? Dealing with humans is not always fun. The pain of change, right? I didn't want that to happen. There's a couple more pains. And once we understand which ones we're dealing with, we can clean them up. The pain of bad health, the pain of hard decisions, the pain of financial loss, right? People saying, well, if I could only get that back. The pain of relationship loss, right? Some people grow in different directions than you. What are the pains might people be dealing with? The pain of not being number one. The pain of traveling, right? When I'm away, I feel like this. The pain of responsibility, because there is Sometimes people don't understand what's expected of them. Okay, so if we're getting clear on what the experience is in our mind that we have to grow from, now we can turn our pain into a gain. So here's something you got to commit and decide to do. You are going to take a positive life stance, right? When these things happen, it's good for me. That's got to be the thing. Choose a positive life stance. Okay. Embrace and develop your creativity, right? If you go and look at human history, a lot of creativity and progress came from painful experiences, right? The truth, but not everyone will turn these painful experiences into something great, something you can grow from. So, but you turn your pain into a gain with your creativity, and also turn it into the gain because of lessons, right? We're all facing difficulties, but if we don't learn from them, then what is the point? So, learning lessons, everyone needs them. Some other things about pain, it's a major key if you want to grow to release resentment. Right? We could talk for a whole hour on that, but we're not going to. The point is, when you think about painful experiences in your life, the experience is enough. There's no need to keep holding on to resentment. So let that go. Taking responsibility for your life, sometimes people will have a painful experience, and all it is a reminder to take responsibility, and that painful experience came from a lack of responsibility, where you had a different mindset around it, and so it created that pain. Okay. And the truth, what happened? Sorry, hold on. Didn't this happen last time? Silly PowerPoint. All right. Don't worry. I have used a computer before, guys. Sharing my screen. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so remember, if you develop the habit of success, you'll make success a habit. There we go. Okay, hopefully, oh wait, share screen. Okay, the truth about being accountable and responsible for one's life is that very few are. And in understanding our growth, remember this whole theme is growth, breaking these limits, taking it to the next level. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So when you're being pushed, when you are, when you're when you're feeling that tension, that's where life begins. It's not about just survival. Okay, now the law of the ladder. This one's fun. This one I really like because it's talking about two things. It's talking about personal growth as well as talking about our leadership growth, our business growth, our character growth. All right, so our personal growth takes us to great heights. Our character growth gives us a stable foundation. We need to grow both. Do not neglect. I like this phrase. We are human beings, not human doings. So to be a success, you need to think like a success. And here's something that I didn't understand until many years into it, and so I'm glad we're talking about it now, most leadership failures are character failures. Right? In the world of business, in the world of growth and teamwork, leadership failures are character failures. So some people will blame it and be like, oh, well, that leadership principle, I guess, wasn't working for me. But that's not the case at all. It's the character failure. We forgot to build something. And so when it was time to lead, we didn't have the base that we were trying to grow on. So here are the rungs of the character ladder. Okay, we're talking about the law of the ladder, how to grow, how to get to the next level. The character matters. Focus more on the inside than the outside. Inside victories precede outside victories. So if we keep looking for outside stuff and we forget the inside stuff, we're never going to get close to what we want. All right, the next rung on the ladder is that the people matters. Following the golden rule, even the platinum rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated, but then also treat others how they want to be treated. Okay, and the next one is passion matters. And only teaching what you believe in. Okay, borrowed beliefs have no passion. They don't have the power to convey, to change, to grow. So here's another quote. With one insignificant exception, the world is made up of others. Isn't that weird to think about? Okay, so some more rungs on this character ladder. The perspective. I will value humanity, sure. Also humility above all virtues. Right? Being coachable, being teachable, having that beginner's mindset, being willing to serve others, being grateful. It doesn't matter how much you've succeeded, how much you've accomplished. Student mindset, keeping that perspective. Okay, finishing strong, not just starting, but also finishing. So a lot of people aren't asking the right questions. They're asking, when will I make my money back? When will I get 5-star? When will I this? When will I that? Those aren't the power questions that you should be asking. Okay, it's not when will I get this? I want you to ask questions like, how far can I go? How far can I grow? How many people can I impact? Those kinds of questions matter, not the when will I make my money back? So in talking on that topic, it's also important to make sure that when your customers are asking you that stuff, you're at the follow-up and they're like, well, what about? You got to be like, those aren't the kind of questions that matter. Let me ask you this question. How far can you grow in 5 years? How can, what's your potential? What's possible in the next 3 months, 6 months, 10 months? And on that topic, because you get that question a lot with your customers, right? When will I make my money back? When will I do my first deal? When will I this? And you got to say, those are small employee brain questions. We need to be talking about the CEO type questions, the leadership questions, the person you intend to become type questions. So then you give them a question. How far can I go with Renatus? How far can I go with this program? What can I accomplish in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? When I give them those questions and I turn it around for them, because one, how the hell are you going to know the answer to their question? And they say, when will I make my money back? You say, the ridiculousness of that question when they're asking you, it's like saying, It's just nonsense. So instead of trying to figure it out or give some non-compliant answer, oh, then 90 days or whatever, that's not even a thing. Answering that question is acknowledging it's stupidity. You gotta say, you know what? That's not even a question I'm gonna answer because it's too small. 20 grand? You didn't join to make 20 grand. So something to think about there. When you change your questions, when you change your customers' questions for them, say, you know what, I think what you're trying to ask is, and then you give them those kinds of perspectives, you'll get more action out of people. There you go, Mark. Perfect. Okay. Now, the law of the rubber band. We are moving right along with these 15 invaluable laws of growth. So, the law of the rubber band. Growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. So there's got to be some tension. Isn't that interesting? Where you are, where you could be. Now, the key is once you grow and you achieve something and you get to where you could be, guess what? You got to stretch again and change anew where you could be, or else you will lose the tension. So we're going to go through a series of stretches. Yeah, it's time to stretch. It's time to grow up in a way. Right? What are we stretching for? So I heard this a while ago and I thought it was kind of interesting. God's gift to us is potential and our gift to God is developing it. And whatever that means for you, right? Living into your potential is how you show gratitude for even having potential. Right? If you have potential, you don't live into it, what does that say about how you feel about it? So if you want to show an attitude of gratitude about your potential, the only thing to do is to develop it, is to stretch. Time to stretch. And where do you need to stretch right now? So it's easy to be average, but let's talk about the top 5% in this world, the top 10% that are always stretching. Few people stretch. If you avoid stretching, ultimately your dreams will be destroyed. Your potential will be destroyed. You'll have wasted the whole time. The other thing about stretching is it starts from the inside out. You can't go around to people and say, hey, can you stretch me? Hey, I need some stretching. I was on this class. I said I need to stretch. Will you stretch me? No, it comes from within. You have to get to start stretching from within. Here's an interesting quote to think about. You are exactly where you should be given all you've done to get here. A lot of people expect to be in a different place. They want to keep stretching, but they have the wrong mindset around it. Or they think it's too late, right? When I'm talking about this mindset around stretching, sometimes people go, okay, 5 minutes of stretching, that's good enough. 10 minutes of stretching, well, I made a phone call. That stretched me. I knocked on a door. That stretched me. Good enough is the motto of the defeated. So be careful with that. One great thing about stretching is it can become a lifestyle. When you realize you want to stretch around the world, that'll become your lifestyle, right? You want to stretch. It's not just about the work. Here's another question to think about. If you won't be better tomorrow than today, what do you need today for? We got to stretch. We got to grow. Stretching gives you a shot at significance. Stretching must be intentional. There's no such thing as random stretching. That's stagnation. That's an hallucination. That's pretend. It must be intentional. I want to go in this direction and all the way to the end. And think about this. Make your greatest fear to achieve mediocrity. Make your greatest fear. Uh-oh. Oh my God. My worst fear is that I become average. My worst fear is that I make the average income. I live in an average house. I have an average. I eat an average of this. I have an average of that. Sounds awful. Don't become mediocre. Okay, now this is a wonderful reminder. Now, the law of the ladder is fun. Law of tension is good, right? If you're taking notes, you could put down there, humans are like rubber bands. We work best under tension. We get the most out of our abilities when we're under tension. Think about a rubber band if it's just sitting there. No one gives a crap. It's not doing anything. It's not helpful. But as soon as there's some tension, time to step up. Okay. Now, the law of trade-offs. And I am constantly reminded about this, and it's great news to have a new perspective on it, because some people think when they give up something that that's it. They just give it up. There's no more to it. But quite often, I'm sitting back and I'm looking at what happened and what I had to give up to get it, and I'm like, oh, it's the law of the trade-off again. You have to give up to go up. And I'll hear it with IMAs. They're talking about, their calendar, trying to attend everything and get their follow-ups and make the stuff happen. And they're like, man, I haven't gone bowling in like 4 months. It's crazy. I'm like, yeah, you got to give up to go up, right? There are some things, oh man, I haven't watched TV in a while. Yep, you got to give up to go up. You can't get to second base and still keep your foot on first base, right? You got to give up to go up. So what's it going to take for you to reach your potential? What do you have to give up? You guys know I gave up TV. That was super easy for me, right? Wrong. I was raised by TV. Okay. But the thing is, TV is not real. I wanted a real life. I didn't want a pretend life. Right? So I gave up the TV. And the TV, that means things like Netflix and video games, just staring at the TV. That's what I mean. Not just, TBS or TNT. Oh, I'm not watching TV shows. That's not the same thing. TV means false sense of control, means sitting and waiting, means life is being spent without you. That's what I mean. So give up to go up. What are you willing to give up? So there's the willingness that you got to give something up. And then there are some equational give ups. What will you have to give up in order to reach your next level? Not being willing to give up something is the key reason why most people will never reach their potential. They're like, oh, I want to add this, and I want to add this, and I want to add this, and I want to add real estate, and I want to add business, and I want to add friends, and I want to add experiences, but I don't want to give up this and this and all these other things. But it already filled up their schedule, their awareness, their consciousness, their identity. It's already filled it all up. You got to give it up. Speaking of identities, that's probably the major key. If you're like, well, what should I give up? If you give up your identity so that you can build something newer and bigger than this little identity that you didn't really think about, you're just kind of this now. Give up a bad habit, give up a perspective, give up. We talked earlier this morning about giving up resentment. Right? You got to give up to grow up. So a couple truths about trade-offs is, one, they're going to be available our entire lives, but also that unsuccessful people are not willing to do the trade-offs. Okay, unsuccessful people make bad trade-offs. Average people make few trade-offs. Successful people are constantly making these good trade-offs. Now, as far as an opportunity for growth, we may not get what we always want, but we will get what we choose. So good news is we get to choose. So 2 questions that you got to ask when evaluating the trade-offs. Right? What are the pluses and minuses? Think about that. You're like, well, all right, so I have to give this up in order to get this. Okay, well, what are the pluses and minuses to this trade-off? The other question to ask is, am I going to just go through this change, or am I going to grow through this change? Okay, I don't just want to go to the top. I want to grow to the top. Right? And I don't just want, it's always about growing. Can I grow through this, not just can I go through this? You ever think about it that way? Okay, and then as far as personal change, it forces us to make this personal change. It's not necessarily easy. If we want something that we've never had, we must do something that we've never done, right? So this forces this kind of change. Change is possible. Change is profitable. Change is doesn't always happen when you want it to happen. Right? Change is could definitely be a surprise. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just a lot of times you can't predict the change. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes when we're doing a training, I'll say the word change like 100 times. And then I think people get numb to it and they just think, yeah, change, change, change. Give me your change. You got change for a 20? Right? And they forget about what I mean when I say changes. Change your attitude, change your perspective, change your approach, change your demeanor, change your face, change your, there's so much change. Change your story, change how you treat people, change it all. So people, okay, so this last point right here. A loss is usually felt before the gain. This is the biggest reason why people give up. They give up too quickly. They made it. They're like, all right, I'm going to change this way. And now because of the change, there's going to be a little bit of pain, right? But that pain will then equal the gain. But there is a delay. And that delay messes with people's heads. And so they go, well, it's not here yet, so I guess I'm going to go back. I thought I want to change, but I guess it's not working. And that's the wrong perspective to take. You got to understand there's going to be a delay. Okay, there's that you'll feel that loss of, well, I don't have this anymore. I gave up TV. I gave up this. I stopped doing that, but I'm still not where I want to be. If you focus on just that, I only gave up that, then of course you're going to miss it. You're going to go right back to it. That's the reason people don't change, is because that feeling of loss. But it's self-imposed. You picked it. Just see it through. See it through. Change my income. Okay, so some more important things about truths. Good news, they can be made at any time. Few trade-offs come once, That is a thing to understand. And as you're growing, the bigger, the bigger, the bigger, the more, the more, the more, the tougher the trade-offs. Right? So some of you are like, well, I could just make an extra 10 grand a year, right? One of those $10,000 checks, that'd be great. Okay. Not much of a trade-off, right? You're not going very high. But if you're like, you know what? I'm going to make $500,000 this year. I make $1 million. I'm gonna make $2 million this year. Then of course those trade-offs get tougher, as they say. The higher you climb, the tougher the trade-off. And that's going back to that. Most people's growth stop because they're no longer willing to make that next trade, that next trade, that next trade. And don't be like most people. The skills that got you where you are not the skills that'll take you to your next level. And so if you feel like you're not reaching there, it's just got to be skill development. Okay, now some fears are, the fear is based on this trade. Instead of looking at it as an opportunity to give up, to grow up, people keep looking at a trade-off as a loss. And the key is that some trade-offs are never worth the same price. Some have a higher benefit, and some will have more damage and harm. So you gotta ask some intelligent questions around it too. But don't be discouraged from it. The other way of thinking about it is think about if you were Tarzan, and what Tarzan's really good at is swinging through the jungle on the vines, right? Swinging through. So what if one day Tarzan's like, you know what? This trade-off thing, now I'm not down. I'm done doing that. And he's swinging through. He's on his vine, and he swings and he grabs the next one. But because he's unwilling to make a trade, he's now still holding on to the original vine, but he's grabbed onto the new one. But what has happened to his progress? Where is he now? He stopped. He's not growing anymore. He's not going or growing. He has stopped because he was unwilling to make the trade. So the trade-off, you got to let go of the past thing. Now, as Tarzan, as soon as he lets go of that original vine, what's going to happen? He's going to get momentum. He's going to swing. He'll be able to get to the next one. So that's where some of you are right now. You are holding on to two vines right here in the middle of the jungle, and we're planning this trek, and we're going to go have a bunch of fun, but we gotta go. And then we come back, we're like, where the hell is that person? I swear they were right behind us. We go back, and there you are in the trees holding on to two vines. You got to be willing to make the trade. I think this is an easy trade, right? Have the apple. Have the apple. Trade-offs worth making. There are some trade-offs definitely worth making. So what I mean by that is financial security in the job and the whole being conservative kind of thing. That's a trade-off worth making. There is no future in any job, right? There's no future in any employment that's going to get you anywhere. There's no potential there. The future is in your control, not in your employer's control. Okay, so if we want potential, we don't want financial security, right? And those of you who've been let go, right? You walked into work one day and then walked right back out because they let you go. You know there's no such thing as financial security. So again, some of you are still trying to hold on to that, but then also try to get to the next. And again, you're holding on to two things. You're not going to get anywhere anytime fast. So something else that Americans, especially humans, of course, but Americans want immediate gratification. Immediate. I want a microwave pizza. But you know microwave pizza is awful compared to that brick oven pizza, right? But again, we want this immediate gratification, and so we're not willing to give that up in order to grow. Again, I'm telling you, these are the trade-offs we're making. Immediate gratification, come on. You cannot build a retirement account and life insurance policy and expect immediate gratification at the same time. These things take years to get to where you want to go. So if you've caught yourself thinking about the desire for immediate gratification, check yourself. That is not the healthy desire. That's not the thing that we should be going after, is immediate gratification. Ooh, that's good. All right, the fast life for the good life. What the heck does that mean? Well, I'm going to ask you some questions, or let's think about this for a sec, to help you focus on your growth, because you're in business and it's here to grow. What are some things that you can do to delegate to others? Not relegate, delegate. Relegate is bark orders. Delegate is converse, convey the idea, have them buy into the mission or the task or the role, and then support them in it. That's delegate. I used to be a relegator. Then I went to a class about 2 years ago, and they said, do you relegate or do you delegate? I'm like, what the hell is the difference? And they showed me. Delegating involves. Delegating is, you see it throughout. You see it to the end. Here's something to think about. Do your best, drop the rest. And you're looking at your calendar, and you're like, well, how am I going to add this thing? And this one, and this one, and this one. Well, it's a lot of trade-offs. Give up to go up. So do your best, drop the rest. If you're not sure, what should I drop? What should I trade for? Well, if it's not your best, give it up. Okay? You have to control your calendar, or someone else will. We talked about calendars on this call before, and we'll bring it up again. But if you don't control your calendar, someone else will. Something else to think about is if you're not, like, I know some people who, they're like, man, I didn't come to the meeting because I just, I didn't have any energy by the end of the day. I don't have any energy. I don't have any energy. Hey, did you watch your classes this week? Oh, I don't have any energy to do that. Did you make any offers? No, I didn't have any energy. You didn't even look at a house. Oh, come on. You're not going to be a real estate investor not making offers. Yeah, well, I'm just so tired. I don't have any energy. It's because you're not doing what you love. So what are you trading off right now? What are you holding back on the trade-off? Which one do you know you need to make that trade-off, but you just haven't done it yet? Let's make it happen this week. And also, I don't give a shit if you don't have any energy. You come to the meetings. That's where you get the energy. That's where you get the energy. I know. I remember, when I get bad news, different things, and it's not always just with real estate, but life happens, right? And then all I could remember is like, oh, I'm so glad I get to go to the meeting tonight, right? Because I'll go pick up some good energy. Either you need the meeting or the meeting needs you. So always, always, always go, just get that energy. Okay, what else? What else we have to give up? We have to give up this whole idea of safety and security. I remember Jim Rohn would talk about it this way. He'd say, okay, there's two lives to live. He recommends live the life of adventure. He said, imagine a life of 30, 40 years of adventure or a life of 100 years of safety. This safety, a life of safety is where you sit in the room with a blanket in the corner. You got a blanket and a pillow, and someone brings you, a lunchbox, and you just sit there and you're safe and secure. 100 years, you'll be safe in the corner. But he says, what a way to live. 100 years in the corner? So let's not strive for safety. Now I will wear my safety glasses if we're gonna go do something crazy. But this whole, you want a safe life, you want a safe and secure. Let's go for significance instead. Trade security for significance, right? Text yourself that. Text your friend that. You might be able to, formulate an idea to text over to prospects who are, using that. Well, I just don't know if there's no security, and you say, yeah, trade security, dude. Get significance instead. Who the hell told you security was a thing? No. You're gonna die. You're not getting out of here alive. So instead of going for this false sense of security, go for significance, right? Especially with that video that started out today about the Girl Scouts and how that lady, one troop, one idea, and how significant is that, right? We've got to give up a little bit of safety and security for it. Also, another trade-off we're making is giving up addition for multiplication. Right? Do your best and drop the rest, and then multiply that. Don't try to add something else onto your schedule. What can we multiply in our schedule? And I like this perspective that he puts in here. He says, be a conduit for blessings, not a reservoir for assets. Another way of looking at this, I went to a class with Kirk Duncan several years ago. He's in Salt Lake. He's got a training company called 3 Key Elements, and he helps train on presentation skills and body language skills and different things like that. And he says one of the biggest things that he did to make a big impact in his world was this attitude called the silver platter attitude. Silver platter attitude. And the whole thing was like this last statement here, be a conduit for a blessing, not a reservoir for assets. He'd say, well, my silver platter attitude, as soon as I get a blessing, I just deliver it to the world on a silver platter. It shows up to me so quickly, and I give it away so quickly that it's just made room for another. And I'm continuing to make these trade-offs and just give, and I trade it off for the next and the next and the next. And before you know it, I mean, you have that significance. You multiplied. It's that silver platter attitude. When a blessing shows up, give it away. On a silver platter, not reluctantly, not begrudgingly, not quietly. Right? Give it away on a silver platter. Don't be a reservoir of assets. Something to think about. Okay, this is where we're going to pick up. We've got a few more to wrap up this training series. So on Wealth Wednesday, make sure you're plugging your IMAs into this stuff. We want them involved in these conversations. So, let's get this attendance up. Let's make sure that we're involving people. Some of you guys are just plain forgetting to tell your new person you enrolled that we do these every morning. So let's be responsible. Let's make sure they're involved in all the growth environments. Okay, let's take a look here. Do you guys know what day is the last day to enter orders in July and still get paid? We need signatures in and verified, orders entered and in, account set up by Wednesday, 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay, it's the 18th, Wednesday. That's it. You got it. Okay, then 19 is day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the 30th. So you can get paid on the 31st. So do not neglect. Get those orders in. Trade some sleep. Trade up your comfort zone and go insist these people buy from you. And not because you need a sale, but because they need Renatus. They need this information. Doesn't matter who they are, they need it. So you got a couple more days to make sure you get a paycheck in July. Now, some of you, gosh, just imagine that phone call. Hey, honey, it's August 1st. And you say, hey, honey, just want to let you know I made absolutely $0 in July. You have 48 hours, basically, to get your orders in for July. You do not want to have a report. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, kids. Hey, significant other. I made $0 in July. I missed the window again. Don't be like that. Come on. Pay attention. Get involved. Don't be shy about this stuff, right? There's got to be that tension. We talked about a lot of tension this morning, a lot of the rubber band, right? Just knowing that the status quo will lead to destruction. So create that tension and put the tension on your guest, on your prospect, on your lead, on your family member, or your friend, whoever you brought, whoever you're trying to help. They need tension too. So don't be shy about it. But the time's ticking away. What kind of income are you going to have for July? And the reason I bring that up is because if you do it right for July, then August you'll be unstoppable. Start calling people back. Hey, man, my business produced $10,000 in July, $20,000, $30,000 in July. It's incredible. Then you get some people to take a look, and you'll make August incredible. Then you get more people to take a look in September. You make that incredible. Start something. You got to give yourself something to talk about. So go get a sale. Make it happen. Get those orders in. Follow the rules. Follow the principles you've been taught. Don't be shy. Grow your identity. That's the thing to trade off. Mark, you said, but how do you trade off to become organized? You give up the identity that you're not organized. You stop telling the story. I'm a disorganized person. I'm not good, quote unquote. I'm using air quotes right now. I'm not good at being organized. Right? If you drop that story, you just say, I'm organized. This is it. Organize my life, organize my thoughts, organize my feelings, organize my day, organize my pencils, organize my paperwork, right? I'm organized. The trade-off is the identity that you're not. See, a lot of times that's it. We're just attached to this smaller identity that this is what we're capable of. Up until now, I've only accomplished this, and so this is all I'm capable of. And then we attach ourselves to that, and away we go in the rat race, right? So give it up. Drop it. Drop your limits. I used to do, and the reason why I'm talking this way to you, Mark, is because this is what I was doing, the same thing. When I first got into business, I'm like, oh, I'm not organized. How the hell am I going to grow a business? But when I realized that I kept perpetuating this identity of disorganization, that it was only me propping up this whole thing, I'm not organized, I got rid of it. I started just telling myself I am organized. All right, I got to go. I'm so organized, and I'm going to be on time to my next call. All right, guys, thanks for being here. I will see you again soon. Stay focused. Share this link. Make sure your teamwork makes the dream work. Get these people involved. A couple more days. Okay, talk to you soon. Happy Money Monday. Bye.